kitchen. Today we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do some pork chops, some potatoes, little vegetables. And the recipe is going to be a little bit different. You've all had pork chops that just turn out dry, like sawdust. But not going to happen once you've got this recipe. So, first thing we need to do, preheat our oven. It's preheating to 350 degrees at the moment. And we're going to start with our potatoes. Here I have a few russet baking potatoes. First thing you want to do with these is wash them really well. You'll notice when you handle them, they're a little dusty. Okay, so we've got them washed. Now what I want to do is cut them into some nice wedges. About quarters for each half. You get about 8 wedges out of each potato. If you like them a little thicker, only cut them into quarters for the whole potato. You're going to take those potatoes, toss them into a nice bowl. That's where we're going to coat them with our flavorings, a little garlic and rosemary and oil, and then we'll roast them off. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is we want to work on our coating for these potatoes. Here I have 5-6 cloves of garlic in a small food processor, a couple tablespoons of oil. I know it seems like a lot, but we're going to use it to coat. We're going to use this whole mixture to coat the potatoes. So you want to put a little bit more than if you were just grinding up garlic to stick in your fridge and use later on. To that mixture, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of rosemary leaves. We'll pop the lid on. And grind the living daylights out of it. Now we have a nice garlicky rosemary pulp. We'll add all of that right in here to our potatoes. Got it all in there. And just completely coat your potatoes. Now what we'll do is we'll spread them out in a nice single layer on a sheet pan. Any extra garlic that's in there, get it on all these potatoes. Yes, I'm working with my hands. They're very, very clean. And afterwards, I will clean them once again. But get them in there so they're not overlapping, laying on top of each other, so that you get full browning all around on your potatoes. Let's deal with pork chops, and we'll get everything in the oven. Most people do pork chops. They do egg and milk, and then coat it in breadcrumbs and bake it off. And they usually come out kind of dry. Pork chops don't tend to have a whole lot of marbled fat through them, which is where you're going to get your moisture. So what I'm going to use instead of breadcrumbs, I'm going to use cashews. Cashews is a nut with a lot of oil in it, and that will leak into your pork chop and keep it nice and moist. So what we're going to do is take our little Cuisinart here, fill it up. Got about a cup and a half of cashews here. Now these happen to be salted. So I'm not adding any salt, but I am adding about half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper just to give it a little kick. So we've ground these down as fine as we can before it turns into actual cashew butter, like peanut butter. Get them into a nice bowl. Get it all in there. And we're going to take a nice pork chop. Try to get yourself decent-sized pork chops. If you go to a butcher, have them cut them thicker, half-inch. I hate those little tiny things that you know, one bite and you're done pork chop. Get a little Dijon mustard on there. Spread it nice on that side. Spread it nice on this side. And get it into our cashews. Get them nice and well coated, just as if you were doing breadcrumbs. Yep. Onto a baking sheet. Let's do these other couple and we'll get them into the oven. Gonna make a mess out of you, so you may want to clean your hands between pork chops. I'm not worried about it. I'll just clean everything here when it's done. Trust me, the best kitchen tools you have, you got when you were born. These two things right here. Okay, so here we have our pork chops laid out on there's 4 of them. I have them laid out on a baking sheet. We're going to throw these and our potatoes in the oven. Set our timer for 45 minutes. At about half an hour from now, I'll get some vegetables here on the stovetop. We'll do those kind of interesting as well. Okay, so it's been about half an hour, give or take a minute or so. What we want to do is take out our potatoes, check, see how they're doing, flip them over, and pop them back in. Meanwhile, we want to get out a little skillet. We want to preheat this skillet to about medium heat. And we're going to add a little bit of butter to it. About a tablespoon and a half. Maybe 2 tablespoons. No more than that. Get that in there and get it melting. Now the vegetable we've selected tonight is just some frozen corn. Now that we've got our butter melted here, we're going to throw about 1.5 cups of frozen corn in there. To that, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, which is very salty, so we're not going to add any salt to this. And a few good cracks of black pepper. Toss that around. We're going to let this saute for the next few minutes till the timer's done on here. Our pork chops, our potatoes are done. I'll show you how to serve that up, and then we'll have us just a wonderful meal. Okay, so our pork chops have been cooking for 45 minutes along with our potatoes. Everything's ready to go. We'll get that off the heat, turn everything off. Get it all out of the oven. Turn everything off. Plate her up. Now the cooking times I've given you, 45 minutes. Based upon the size of the pork chops that I was using. However, if you're using tiny little pork chops, adjust your cooking time down. Maybe use your thermometer here. Maybe use this kind of a thermometer or your meat thermometer. Just make sure your pork is cooked to 160 degrees. So there we have a beautiful dinner. Didn't take you very long. 15-20 minutes worth of prep, 45 minutes worth of cooking, a lot of which you spent just sitting on your duff waiting for it. You can see, oh, so nice and juicy, cooked all the way through. Absolutely wonderful pork chop. Not chewy, nice and moist. Potatoes are fantastic. Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside. And our corn is just perfect. Try this recipe. You'll be glad to have it in your repertoire. And please do not forget to come back. Keep checking back. Find us next time. See what's cooking in Bert's kitchen.